in A Language of Learning, the Classical Method, which was published on creation.com, you said classical education differs from both progressivism and pragmatism in that it sees as its purpose the passing on of a particular culture, namely the Western culture. And then in the classical education is more than a method from Memorial Press, you write, if we articulate classical education as merely a method and fail to cast the vision of the Christian West as it manifests itself in our literature, our science, and our history, and we will have to replace one modern mistake with a similar one, no less modern. So what's there that's critical to preserve?
Yeah. For one thing, multiculturalism is a Western idea. Right. Yet, if people who attack the West on the basis of multiculturalism, that developed in the West.
Right. Yes.
And Western civilization has these particular traits. Okay, one is a kind of universality. The whole idea of universal truth, a truth that is true for everybody, everywhere. That is a uniquely Western idea, right? And also this idea of self-criticism, that we are our own worst critics. It's not people outside Western civilization who can critique us. They don't know how to critique. It's not part of their culture. If they have it and they do criticize us, they got it from the West, right? In fact, the world is Western, is almost completely Westernized now. You have to go to really remote places and tribal situations where it's, so, all these pretensions about native practices and all this stuff. Excuse me, you people who say that, you go around and you're trying to stamp out female circumcision and you're trying to stamp out racism. And those are indigenous practices. I thought we liked indigenous practices. Actually, it's Westerners who really respect indigenous practices in a proper way. Because one of the things that has happened as the West has gone out and conquered the world militarily and culturally, there have been bad things that have happened, obviously. But one of the good things that has happened is the third thing, after being universal, self-critical, is that we're the great appreciators. We sent out anthropologists and linguists all over the world because we were curious about other cultures. We appreciate other cultures in a way that other cultures were never able to appreciate other cultures themselves. And even when we sent out military expeditions, Napoleon goes and he conquers Egypt, bad thing. But the good thing about it was that he sent archaeologists there. We are the ones who figured out how to read the hieroglyphs. Champollion, the Frenchman, figured out how to do that because he was interested in it. We went to countries, and yet there were bad things about colonialism. Even many Indian intellectuals today say, look, we need to thank the British for the rail system. They developed our infrastructure and taught us how to govern ourselves in a stable way. So the West is, you can talk about these other cultures and all this sort of thing, but that's Western talk. That itself. Even the criticism of us is conducted in a Western way because we're the ones who are our own worst critics, and we're the great appreciators. The only reason we know Sanskrit today is because of several British anthropologists who went over there and saved it. We saved it for the Indians. There's a lot of angles on that, but I just think that all this anti-Western talk is very ignorant. Yeah. And it's even their own ability to criticize ourselves comes from ourselves ultimately.